Dear colleagues, a very warm welcome to today's opening press conference for the IMO Hannover 2025. It is good tradition that we open up the trade show with this press conference, and we are delighted that you have come here from across the world. We are delighted and we are looking forward to some very informative, energizing, inspiring days at the trade show that lie ahead of us. We have guests today, our General Commissioner Karl Martin Welker, who will give you some insights into what awaits you in the coming days. And then we have Professor Christian Brecher with us from the RWTH Aachen University, who will talk about AI, which is a key topic and will have major influences in the upcoming days and the discussions. And he will give us some insights and some ideas regarding AI. I would like to ask Mr. Welker now to give his introduction.
Thank you so much, and welcome. And from my side, welcome to Hanover here. And welcome, at least from our point of view, and I hope from yours as well, to the most important event for the international community of metalworking. So, welcome to the global leading trade fair for production technology here in Hanover. We are very much looking forward to 5 exciting and eventful days from today, 22nd to the 26th of September. And we would like to have you participating here. For our industry, IMO, is not just a trade fair. Under the motto of innovative manufacturing, it stands for innovation, for internationality, for inspiration, and for the future of the metalworking industry. Here, this is where the trends of tomorrow are conceived, where industry players exchange ideas, and where new business relationships are formed. We are the platform for the industry. We are the place to be. We are expecting guests and business partners from all over the world. Expectations towards IMO are pretty high. This is particularly so at times where the economic and political parameters, the business ambition, seem to be putting a brake on business ambitions. This year and next year, it might well be that we have the lowest growth since the financial crisis, by excluding the years of the pandemic, of course. For 3 years, with a view to the global political situation, the industry had to fight with lots of continued crises. There was the US tariff policy, which is, by the way, just another factor which keeps the companies at tenterhooks. And we must not lose sight of the fact that the uncertainties, in particular when it comes to tariffs, most recently with additional duties on metal components in our machines and in our spare parts, have exceeded all tolerable limits. This will have major impacts on global investment, which in 25 and 26 supposedly will only grow by half a percentage point. In these difficult times, IMO is more than just a showcase for technical superlatives. When politics and the economy are slowing down, the industry itself has to become active and build bridges, try to find solutions, and invest into technologies for the future. Companies now have to do everything they can in order to improve their global position and competitiveness so that they are prepared as best as possible once the economy will be restarting. How our clients see the current situation and the outlook, that's something which we'll discuss at the IMO Economic Forum, made for tomorrow. We'll have participants from the automotive industry, from mechanical engineering, from aviation, and from medical technology. They will report on the economic and technology challenges and the strategies that they want to use to overcome them. In a panel discussion, the strategies will be looked at somewhat deeper, and best practice examples will be explored, which will provide added value for participants. IMO Economic Forum will take place tomorrow, Tuesday, the 23rd of September, from 2 to 4 p.m. in the Congress Center. Now, in these uncertain times everywhere in the world, reliable partners are more valuable than ever, which is why IMO, for the very first time, has called out a partner country. Under the title Alliance Country Canada at IMO 2025, Canadian manufacturers will be exhibiting in Hall 12. This is our way of supporting Canadian industrial companies in their search for new customers, for new suppliers, and for reliable partners for innovation in metalworking. Because they are certain to find them here at IMO. At the same time, we are demonstrating our solidarity with those of our partners who continue to support a rule-based global trade environment and are interested in this. And against this backdrop, on behalf of all the machine tool manufacturers and all the machine manufacturers, as it were, we would like to once again call for the final ratification of the CETA Free Trade Agreement with Canada by all of the EU member countries. I don't know whether you know the case, and I don't want to expand on it. I think 2004 we negotiated it, 2017 it was concluded, and up until today, of 28 or 27 member states in the European Union, only 18 have signed the documents. I think recently Germany in December 2022. When we want to create alliances for free trade, then we have to organize it in a better way than what we've been done in the recent past. So that's what it is like today, and that's what it was like 50 years ago when the first IMO opened its doors. We want to be an international platform. In 1975, the European Umbrella Organization of Machine Tool Industry, SESIMO, with a lot of support by VDW, wanted to create a platform that could provide a new impetus for the industry. From its origins, IMO had a clear mission. It was supposed to be the stone that's, when it's thrown in the water, would make waves. And if at all possible, doing so all around the globe. IMO was the first trade fair with an international outlook, providing a global showcase for the development of production technology. This assignment was taken up by exhibitors straight away. From that point on, they developed their innovation to match the schedule of IMO trade fairs, and then they presented them in Milan, in Paris, and in Hanover. So today at IMO we'll see lots of novelties true to the tradition of the IMO cycle, where my company also takes a very close look as to where we present new development and the place where you do it as tradition, by way of tradition, is IMO. I'm not going to talk about that at great length, but in Hall 12 there is a story wall that talks about all of this at great detail, how CNC development happened, how back then, think about hexapodes, think about high speed grinding. Professor Brecher knows about this much better than I do. Think about all the development, Industry 4.0, now AI is coming. So all of these things are shown in Hall 12 in our story wall. I can only invite you to go there and take a look at it, because that's very interesting. It's very interesting to take a look at the individual focus areas in the various countries that were made back then in those days. So what are we expecting from IMO 2025 now? And the industry all over the world is undergoing quite an extensive process of transformation, and competition is getting ever more intense. Imperialism and isolationism destroy value chains and international division of labor. Costs are rising. Shortage of skilled workers is providing a challenge to companies. The demand for sustainable products is growing. Supply chains are being diversified to make them more resilient in the face of global crises. Focus topics for EMO 2025 for us are mainly the mega trends automation, digitalization, sustainability, and artificial intelligence. They promise solutions for the challenges that the industry is facing. I think we are all pretty excited to see how AI will influence the future of metalworking. Currently, there is a global debate about it, whether it's going to be the game changer for the production of tomorrow and what kind of applications can be used and seem to be promising. My neighbor, Professor Christian Brecker, will give us some more information about it, and I'm sure he can do so much better than I can. We offer a good introduction for the topic at EMO with the AI and digitalization area and the AI Hub at EMO 2025. There, application scenarios and prototype solutions for AI in metalworking will be demonstrated, and experts from the research sector will be available to provide general information and to answer in-depth questions. Visit to the AI Hub at EMO 2025 in Hall 6 is sure to be worthwhile. And this at lunchtime at 2:30, we would cordially like to invite you to a compact, focused press briefing, including the presentation of Emil. That's the EMO Info Guide. So in the past, we have seen that new technologies and technical trends make their way into factories after having appeared at EMO. The current hype surrounding AI should not obscure the fact that most visitors to the stands of the over 1,600 exhibitors from 45 countries will be focusing on other and above all simpler solutions to their problems. What makes EMO so unique is that it covers the entire value chain in metalworking. It shows the entire bandwidth. And this ranges from machine tools, production systems, additive processes, to precision tools and automation, through to measurement technology, quality assurance, software, and accessories. Our target groups are the global drivers of the industry, each with their own dynamics and specific concerns. We will be welcoming visitor groups from all customer sectors, including mechanical engineering, the automotive and the aviation industry, metalworking and the metal processing sectors, and medical technology, the energy supply, and the electronics industry. For all of them, modern machine tools and innovative production systems are essential. Automation solutions are intended to increase efficiency and quality in the production process. At the moment, they are seen as the main driver for investment. Automation replaces manual activities and ensures transparency in the production process. It should be easy to operate, and it should be able to adapt it flexibly to the individual needs of the users. Our exhibitors offer a wide range of solutions, ranging from simple plate changes and handling systems to the use of robots and autonomous factories with self-driving systems. Addressing the right topics at the right time, that's what sets EMO apart. It's true for projects. We only think about the Global Umate initiative, which will also show at EMO 2025 what kind of huge benefits the standardized machine networking has. And it's also true for special production processes. Additive manufacturing area at EMO Hanover has become a firmly established thing. It's the central point of contact for visitors in Hall 12 who are interested in the latest development in 3D printing. In the showcase area, users and machine manufacturers show additively manufactured components made of steel or non-ferrous metals and plastics, which are produced using screen printing or clad welding, contract welding, laser powder bed fusion, UV curing, or using extrusion procedures, for example. We have again defined sustainability as a focus topic for EMO 2025, and for good reason. Environmentally friendly production is not simply something that's nice to have, it's an opportunity to secure the very own competitiveness of companies. We're convinced that companies who open up to new trends of energy efficiency and to integrate renewable energy sources to go towards circular economy and life cycle concepts will not only reduce production costs in times of high energy prices and persistent shortages of energy and raw materials, they will also gain a competitive edge from it and will be available to position themselves as pioneers on the global markets. Despite the great interest shown at recent EMOs, it is a fact that we also need to keep highlighting our efforts to achieve greater environmental sustainability in production, and we need to emphasize the advantages of doing so, because there are many more solutions than you might think, and many of the solutions can be implemented with rather little effort. There's only very often just a lack of awareness about this. This is where the sustainability area joint stand in Hall 14 comes into play, showcasing examples for the entire value chain of sustainable production. Exhibitors will be providing useful information and will give answers to questions such as how companies can make their first step into the circular economy. Now, ladies and gentlemen, technology, of course, is just one side of the coin. We must not forget people. The people who develop the technologies and who use their skills and expertise to ensure that it's put to good use. For the future of our industry, it's of the essence that not only our product range, but also the work in our industry is seen as being attractive and offering good prospects for the future. Therefore, we are particularly pleased that we have a special education showcase at EMO, and it can report a new record. Over 850 students and pupils have registered to participate in it. The special exhibition on education in Hall 7 is organized by the Foundation for Young Engineers in Metal Engineering, a foundation that promotes training in mechanical engineering. It brings together young talent and direct contact with companies, technologies, and educational opportunities, and creates a platform for modern training made in Germany. At the same time, it offers a platform for exchange, for cooperation, and for educational innovation at a European and at a global level. A worldwide look at young engineers and young personnel is offered by EMO Startup Area in Hall 6, which is fully booked. It offers look at the next generation. The concept of exhibitions, matchmaking, pitches and other formats which VDW and VDMA Startup Machine are organizing jointly has convinced newcomers to the industry to showcase their innovations here. I'm sure that they will attract the attention of the international leaders of the machine tool industry, as well as of the exhibitors and visitors from the fields of politics, media and business. The highlight is the highlight of this concept is EMO Startup Night on the 23rd of September, which also includes a speed dating event. EMO Innovation Stage also offers exciting topics. Every day it invites you to come to Hall 12. It talks about questions how to secure critical expertise, how AI can be used for production and design, and how sensor data can be converted into process know-how. This requires a critical assessment of the data protection regulation. Daily between 2 and 3 p.m. there are surprising facts to be offered by the Pop Talk. We cannot wait to hear the thoughts of well-known publicist and podcaster Sascha Lobo on the question as to whether AI is more of a growth driver or an existential threat in the manufacturing sector. The keynote speaker on Wednesday is the manager and publisher Julia Jäckel, co-founder of the German Initiative for an Effective State. She will take a look at the key challenges facing Germany as an industrial location and will then discuss with me how we can finally get our reform efforts moving. Ladies and gentlemen, Germany as an industrial location is certainly facing its own challenges, but IMO stands for internationality. We do not just want to look inwards. In fact, what we have to say at the IMO World Tour of VDW through 27 countries around the world, we found that similar issues are at play everywhere. Be it a shortage of skilled workers, complaints about too much red tape, or criticism of the infrastructure that is not up to scratch for a business environment. Entrepreneurs want to do business, and they expect the state to provide an adequate framework that provides support to them. Entrepreneurial spirit needs freedom. The political framework can have an impact on industry and on the willingness to invest and create jobs. The political sphere can either downgrade that or improve it. It is our task to identify the obstacles and demand solutions from politicians. After all, economic development also has a psychological component. The Global Purchasing Manager Index, which measures metrics such as new orders, production, employment, supply, deliveries, and inventories, is currently hovering around the growth threshold of 50 points, but it's not yet indicating a real upward trend. European industry seems to be coming from a lower level and now seems to be improving markedly, and German industry has also gradually worked its way up from a rather deep trough. Against a backdrop of planned spending on defense and infrastructure, as well as the government's measures to strengthen the economy as announced, there is hope growing that confidence will return and there will be a renewed willingness to invest. IMO, therefore, is coming in at the right point of time, and it could once again be the stone that starts the waves moving. So I hope that the atmosphere at IMO will be good, and I wish good business to exhibitors and to all the visitors. I hope they have an interesting visit to the trade fair and that the expectations of IMO will be exceeded. Thank you very much for your attention.
Herzlichen Dank, Herr Welker.
Thank you very much, Mr. Welker. I hope that you all have enough time planned in order to experience our framework program, or maybe even just parts of it, and to even visit our exhibitors in the halls. I would like to suggest that we pass the floor to Mr. Brecher now, who will talk about AI and current developments of AI, and afterwards, before we move on to our opening ceremony, there will be some time for a Q&A. Professor Brecher, over to you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm delighted to be here. Unfortunately, I only have 15 minutes in order to give you some insights into how AI has made its way into production industry. I would like to say beforehand that since 2022 there was a major initiative that started in 2024. It was phased out. It was named ProKI, Pro AI, AI for Production Technology. It was a Germany-wide initiative, and I was the spokesperson of this initiative. What we did over the past 2 years, or even 3 years, we intensely looked at this topic, and in these 3 years only AI sparked a major hype, and that is what I would like to give you some statistics on. For this major program 3 years ago, we realized that we've been talking about digitalization and Industry 4.0 for a while now. Everything is connected, everything is becoming smart. But for many businesses, what is missing is the database. Businesses are ramping that up in large scale right now because database will be the base of any AI application in the future. I would like to report now on the current implementation of AI and the opportunities that come with this. And for that, I would like to show you these graphs here, of course, with the introduction of generative AI models such as ChatGPT, for example. Everybody has probably heard of that, especially for the search engines. You've probably used that already. And there has been a major growth with these models. You can see that in the top left here on the second graph here. That's the interest in AI according to Google Trends. We often experience that we like to use these models. We ask for the best routes, how to get from A to B. We ask for the weather. We ask for many issues of our everyday life. And we use these new tools for that. And the question here was, how far will this technology also be part in the industry and in business? So there's several models of AI that we need to look at here, and I would like to invite you this afternoon to come to our AI booth where many employees, young scientists have looked at exactly that topic, and they will be able to give you more information on that much better than I am able to do so, and they will be able to answer any questions you might have extensively. Now, especially when looking at the revenue of a large company here, NVIDIA, they are not working in the hardware business, but here you can see a major growth. And let's take a look at a more broader time frame and ask the question of what are the different models existing for AI. Mr. Petrovic gave me these slides. Thank you for that. And the first phase is pre-ChatGPT. That was the time before any generative AI. In production technology, of course, we also looked at AI. I know that from my studies at university, which is a while ago. There were neuronal networks, there were specific boxes that we looked at, and these neuronal networks were part of a recent presentation for me. So there was a feather, for example, and we used these models for that. And through data and a learning phase, we were able to apply this technology to some of our studies. And that is exactly what Mr. Welker just explained. The question of how far can we trust AI, that will be a very exciting process that we will have to manage in the future in order to really make use of AI. Now, let's look at generative AI. It creates new content such as text, images, music, or code. From a computer science side of things, there's a lot of statistics, many new models. I heard a presentation by a scientist who looked at generative AI, and it's actually very complicated. But if you would like to make use of the opportunity to this afternoon, go and talk to my scientific colleagues about this, and this is being used in science a lot already. Then the next step, the next development is agentic AI. So these generative models are embedded into agents, and then the next step on the right is embodied AI. And here you can imagine humanoid robots with AI applications that have been integrated. That is the best example for that. Now, if we look at the question of what has changed in the past 3 years. Here's the development of closed generative AI models, and these are the open ones, the blue ones. And there's a major leap in performance when it comes to efficiency, when it comes to hardware costs. So the use of these new technologies has really become affordable, and through these development of these open models, we can also use open models, so the accessibility of these models has also increased. Let's look at some applications for analytical AI that has been used for many years now, for visual inspection, for set point optimization. You will see more and more industrial chatbots, co-pilots. If you use specific programs, address your questions, there will not be major catalogs anymore or set point catalogs. No chatbots are used now, and any information on that is immediately available actually through these chatbots. In some business, this has been used in the design phase a lot, and then that was generative AI. If we look at agentic AI, this is being used in logistics, orchestration, and order processing. And on the right, we see the intralogistics and humanoid robotics. These are the areas that are coming in more and more now, that are being implemented more and more. That's human intelligence, human intelligence is also important in production. For many, many decades, we've been doing science on production, on machines, on technologies, on tools, on cutting speeds and everything that is connected to that. And all of these physical models that are empirically and secured, it makes a lot of sense to connect them to these new applications. What I already know, I do not need to learn again. That is the principle on the basis of which we can trust these new technologies. What is the situation in Germany right now? On the left-hand side here, you can see that there's some positive news for AI publication. Germany is behind the United States and United Kingdom. We're in a quite good situation. One indicator here is that there is many PhD students when it comes to communication technologies. For that, Germany really doesn't need to hide. On the right-hand side, though, for the economy and industry, for global and private investments, that's where Germany lags behind. And also when it comes to the number of newly funded AI companies. What are the reasons for these developments? Why are Germany and the EU lagging behind? France does have a business that gives us some hope. Well, the skills shortage is a problem. We need expertise when it comes to AI. In brackets, even we as production tech people, we are engineers, and we now need to deal with people who are dealing with mathematics on a very high level. Another thing are, of course, the high costs and limited resources. Those are the major performances that we need for our computers in order to process AI. There's, of course, legal and regulatory uncertainties, legal frameworks, and then everything that has to do with our culture and structural barriers. This regards how can private capital come into these AI startups. On the other hand, we of course do have strength, especially in the European Union. We have a strong scientific base, which I already explained to you. We have a world-class production industry and automation industry, not only in Germany, but across all of Europe. Accordingly, we have set standards, Industry 4.0 standards. A lot of industrial data is available, but it is not publicly available. And in that first major project that I talked about regarding the lack of data or systemized data and the question of how I retrieve data and collect it, the problem here is that this data never really leaves the businesses. So we don't really make full use of the potential there is. The question here is for reliable AI, how does that fit into our value system, the European value system, data protection, data ecosystem? There were a few major initiatives on this, and as you know, that setting one standard takes some time. Now, there are numerous sources we could look at for generative AI models. They are based on the World Wide Web, which over the past 20 to 30 years has developed majorly. And if we believe that, we of course get to a certain satisfaction of the system, and the curves will flatten out. On the right-hand side, we see the increase of IoT connections. What is especially interesting here is the blue area. And here you can see that after the pandemic, or right in the midst of the pandemic, the growth has developed to being exponential. And this is encouraging. If we look at the amount of basic data that we have, and in order to use them, they need to be shareable. They need to leave the businesses. Businesses need to share their data. We in Aachen, at the Aachen University, we have been working on a major project that is now coming to an end. It has a great title, the Internet of Production. Now imagine that every single production step, milling, welding, whatever it is, in any business, the data of these processes would be collected and shared. So an Internet of Production would use the data, and every single production process would be like a test for us scientists. It would be a major opportunity. So we could, for example, feed our sensors, our multi-sensor systems with a lot of data on position, on volume, and so on. Any control system gives us this data already, and then we can store the data. And that, with this technology comes major potential. Now, we need to act, we must act for the industrial context, especially for the industry. We need the respective data ecosystems, and businesses, even if they are major, cannot do this alone. We need strong alliances. And always like to understand these models, how they work in particular, and we need to spread them and try them and work together. And of course we need to teach our employees, we need to train them. And in order to do so, we need governmental support, not only from the German government, but from European Union. We need research funding. The sovereign infrastructure needs to be expanded on. And there are always many regulations at the beginning, which sometimes works well, but maybe we need to focus more on how to make use of the technologies, and we need the support of governments for that. There have been a few recent signals that are hopeful ones. You maybe saw this in the Tagesschau. In Jülich, Europe's fastest computer was set up. Jülich is not very far away from Aachen. And for robotics, there have been developments too. The German federal government has decided to link scientists in a robotics institute Germany, and all of those applied scientists and the industrial businesses who are looking into automation and robotics technologies can become part of this institute. We will have service robotics in the future when it comes to the humanoid robotics, so this will play a major role in these developments. In addition, there is an alliance between NVIDIA and the Deutsche Telekom. There have been newspaper articles on that, and this is another focus on AI in production technology. And we always need to ask ourselves how reliable AI is, and in order to do so, I need a basic understanding of things, of the physical models that we have, and we need to include these physical models in order to gain more trust, create more trust, and I believe that we really need to get going and not only look at the neuronal networks, because they are comparably easy. So what we did is we decided with the Pro AI initiative in production technology to push this topic forward together with the VDW, who will support us, and the result is what you will be able to see at our booth today here at the trade show. You have mentioned Emil. I tried Emil myself, and this has been prepared for Emo. It's a little chatbot. I tried it at the business named Schutte. Schutte gave me the right answers. That is only one example, Mr. Welker. And we would like to invite you as press representatives. We would like to take you on board. We need to dive into this topic. And if I may come back to IoT, there is a major amount of data available, but usually these data do not ever go across business borders. So that is a major capital that we should try to unlock with these modern tools. There will of course be setbacks on this path when it comes to the reliability of AI concepts, and for that we need to simply dive in and understand these models. Otherwise, we will never be able to answer the question of reliability. In the European Union and Germany, we are on a good path. At EMO, I think we will be able to see some applications already. We do need some trust, a leap of faith. And if you look at some applications today, I think you will share my opinion that they are absolutely astonishing sometimes. 10 years ago, some of them have not even been thinkable. They are doable today. And on that note, I would like to invite you to unlock the potential, to come up with alliances, and we need the support of the public hand in order to implement larger projects on this topic. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Professor Brecher. He will be available for questions at lunchtime because we have gone so far now and time has elapsed. I cannot ask you for your questions now, unfortunately. I would like to invite you to join us moving to Hall 18 to the hub, which is just across the road, where we'll have the inauguration event at 10 o'clock. But before you join us and move there, I would like to move your attention to something. We saved on paper, but the entire material that you were able to hear about, we have processed that in a digital format, and with the QR codes that you have in your press folders, you can download all the material. Now, thank you so much for joining us this morning, and I would also like to wish you an interesting Imo, good talks, and lots of interesting meetings, and I hope that we will be meeting each other at some point at Imo. Thank you so much, and till then.